Hey boys and girls, we're going to take a look at 3 problems from our February 13th model drawing sheet. The 3 problems range from A, being easy to moderate, or fairly easy, to our level B problems, where they're going to be a little bit more of a challenge, and then to our level C problems that are definitely meant to be a bit more complex. So let's go ahead and take a look at that level A problem, very first one. Says the ratio of soda to popcorn to candy sold at the movie theater last weekend was 8 to 5 to 6. There are 180 packages of candy sold. How many sodas were sold? In all, how many sodas, boxes of popcorn, and packages of candy were sold? So, in order to start solving the problem, we want to start with building our model. Now, we're working with ratios, and if we allow model drawing to help us, then ratios are really not that difficult to work with. So, since we're talking the ratio of soda to popcorn to candy, we're going to go ahead and use those for our model. So, soda to popcorn to candy. Okay, so now the ratio was 8 to 5 to 6. So I would give soda 8 units. Now to save a little bit of space, I'm just going to write an 8U instead of drawing out all the bars. For our popcorn, gets 5 units, so a 5U. Now the candy that was sold would get 6 units. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw those in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now it wants to know how many sodas were sold, and of course in all how much was sold. Now it says there were 180 packages of candy sold. So when we look at our unit bar for candy, it's telling us that these 6 units right there are worth 180 packages. So now that means how much is 1 unit going to be worth? Well, 180 divided by 6 is 30. So we now know that each unit is worth 30. So now I can take that information and apply it to my other units. Each of the units here is worth 30. So I have 5 units where each is worth 30. That's a total of 150. Up here I have 8 units where each unit is worth 30. So 8 units. And I'll put a 30 in there. So 8 units times 30 is going to give us 240. So now we've actually solved the first part of the problem. How many sodas were sold? We can see there were 240 sodas sold. Now we can also answer that second question. It's asking us for the total amount of sodas, boxes of popcorn, and packages of candy. There we just take a look at our 240, our 150, and our 180. We combine them for a total of 570 to get our final answer. 240 sodas, 570 total. Let's take a look at the level B problem. Now the level B problems are meant to be a little bit more of a challenge. They definitely are solvable, especially if you use model drawing. If you're able to solve them without model drawing, that is awesome, and I really look forward to seeing your solution strategy. So let's go ahead and take care of this one. It says Mrs. Anderson had twice as many chickens as ducks. She sold 272 chickens and 16 ducks. She then had half as many chickens as ducks. How many chickens did she have in the beginning? So, to solve this problem, I'm actually going to work backwards. I tried a couple other strategies that just didn't seem to work, and I was having a lot of difficulty with the model. But when I attempted it, by starting off with the half as many chickens as ducks, it seemed to work out. So, we start off with half as many chickens as ducks. That settles this right away. We have 1 unit for chickens, and we end up with 2 units for ducks after the chickens and the ducks have been sold. So now, let's go ahead and continue to work backwards and look at the number of ducks that were actually sold. Now, if the chickens ended up being half as many as the ducks started with 2 units, we're going to give back the 16 that were sold. So I'm just going to add on a little bit of a smidge of a unit, and we're going to make that worth 16 ducks. So now, all the ducks are back. 2 units plus the 16 that were originally sold. We've given them back. They've been returned. They were defective. Who knows? Okay? Now it says that 272 chickens were sold. If we give those 272 chickens back, then we will have twice as many chickens as ducks. This clue here really is kind of the key to unlocking the entire problem. Because right now, if we look at our ducks, I'm just going to use red here, this whole thing right here is really 1 unit. Because after we give back the 272 chickens, there's going to be twice as many chickens as ducks. And right now, there are a certain number of ducks, and 16 ducks to make up 1 whole unit of the ducks. We already see that there's going to be twice as many as those. So I'm actually going to put just a little bit of a red line just kind of coming up right through here. Okay? So now, let's go ahead and give the 272 chickens back. Well, I know that in order to have twice as many, I have to at least get to 1 unit for the chickens first. So let's give that 1 unit for the chickens. Well, there's some of that 272 given back. Okay? Now let's go ahead and give the rest back. So now at this point, we have twice as many chickens as ducks. And we already know that from here to here is worth 272 chickens. So now, there's a few things that I'm actually seeing in this model that are going to help me solve this problem. First off, when I was putting this together, this unit and this unit are the same size, which means this unit right here is twice as much as this unit. So that's telling me that if I were to draw a little line right up through here, I now have 2 units here that are the same size as these 2 units. But that's also telling me then that this piece right here is worth 16, since its counterpart down here is worth 16. That's very interesting, because now, if this is 1 unit right here, and this is its equal, I'm seeing 2 units and a 16. So if I doubled that to get twice as much as the ducks, well then shouldn't that mean that there is a piece right here that's also worth 16, and this piece I can split right there, because now these units are the same size as these 2, and I've got a 16 here and a 16 here. Interesting. Well, how's that all going to help me? Well, from this point here to here is worth 272. So now what do I see? I see that I have 3 units, 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, plus a unit that's worth 16 and a unit that's worth 16. So, you're probably already ahead of me. I'm going to take my 272 and I'm going to subtract my 2 16s that I know of. My 16 here and my 16 here. So we're going to subtract out 32 from our 272, leaving us with how much? 240. Now our next step, because we're trying to figure out how much these units are worth, if I knew how much these units are worth, I know how much all the rest of them over here are worth. So now, from here to here, was 272 minus this 16 minus that 16, leaving us with 240. So now that means that there is 240 spread equally amongst this unit, and this unit right there. So 240 divided by 3 tells us that each of those units is worth 80. So now, think we can go back and solve our problem. We now know that we have 80 in here, 80 here, 80 there, and 80 here as well. Plus, of course, the 16 and the 16. Now they want to know how many chickens she had in the beginning. So we come up here and we say, well, 80 plus 80 plus 80 plus 80. Well, that's 80 times 4. That's 320. So we have 80 of these, or 80 times 4 units, or 4 units worth 80. That gives us 320. And then, of course, the little pieces that were worth 16 here and here, we're going to add those back in. So that's a total of 32. And when we add those back in, we find out that she started with 352 chickens. Now, while my answer looks reasonable, I definitely want to go back and double check. So if I'm saying that I started with 352 chickens in the beginning, okay? And, of course, I started with 176 ducks in the beginning. Can I work now with my clues to make sure I come out with the correct answer? After I sell my 272 chickens and I sell my 16 ducks, I should have half as many chickens as ducks. And actually, before we even do that part, do I have right now twice as many chickens as ducks? Well, 352, 176. 176 times 2 is indeed 352. So I do indeed have twice as many chickens as ducks right now. Clue 1, taken care of. So now, if I happen to take away 272 of those chickens, I'm going to be left with that little unit that was worth 80. Well, if I'm down here, and remember, we had twice as many ducks as chickens after all the sales. If I take away that 16 that were sold, I end up with 2 units that were worth 80 each for a total of 160. So I ended up with half as many chickens as ducks. I started off with twice as many chickens as ducks. All my clues add up. I think it's safe to say that we came out with the correct answer, 352, for our beginning number of chickens. Let's tackle the last problem. It's a C-level problem. So, the C-level problems are definitely meant to be a bit more complex, definitely challenging. I'm totally expecting you to try your absolute best on these problems, but I in no way, shape, or form expect you to be able to solve them. Now, they are totally solvable using model drawing. I'm about to walk you through the process. But I don't want you to get frustrated if you're not able to solve the C level problems. They're meant to stretch you, they're meant to challenge you, but they're not meant to frustrate you. So let's see. It's another ratio problem. The ratio of $1 coins to 50-cent coins in a box was 3 to 4. Now, 6 $1 coins were removed, and some 50-cent coins of the same amount were added. The ratio of $1 coins to 50-cent coins became 1 to 3. What was the total amount of money in the box? So to start solving this again, I'm going to start off by building my model. I have $1 coins. Now, as I'm writing that, I'm also thinking to myself already, a $1 coin means one coin. So I'm actually just going to put that right there. Okay? So the ratio of $1 coins to 50-cent coins in a box was 3 to 4. So I need 50 cent right here. Okay? And now I'm going to go ahead and put in my model. So here I have my 3 to 4. Okay. So I have my ratio drawn out as a unit bar. So 3 units to 4 units. Now I'm also noticing here I have $1 being one coin. In order to get to $1, I will need 2 coins. Now I'm just drawing that out so I don't forget later on. So now let's see. It says 6 $1 coins were removed. Some 50-cent coins of the same amount were added. The ratio of $1 coins to 50-cent coins then became 1 to 3. So now, I'm not quite sure how many of my units up here I need to get rid of. So I kind of just threw out a guess and check and said, you know what? Let's get rid of 2 units. Now, right away though, a red flag should pop up. If I get rid of 2 units, I'm noticing that I already have a new ratio. I have a ratio of 1 to 4. Now, that's definitely a problem because I'm supposed to end up with a ratio of 1 to 3. I could get rid of a unit right here and be at that ratio of 1 to 3. But my clues clearly state that after I got rid of 6 $1 coins, which I tried to do by getting rid of 2 units, I was supposed to add some 50-cent coins. So I can't actually get rid of that box right here. Can't do it. So, what am I going to do instead? Well, instead of getting rid of 2 units, I'm only going to get rid of 1. So there's my 2 units back. I'm going to get rid of this one right here. So now, I've gotten rid of 1 unit, and that 1 unit is worth $6 or 6 $1 coins. So now, if I get rid of that 1 unit, I'm left with 2 units. Now, how many units do I need to add to the 50-cent coin section down here in order to end up with a 1 to 3 ratio? Well, for every 1 unit, I'm supposed to have 3 units down here. Well, 1 unit, 3 units. But if I have 2 units, how many should I have? 1 to 3, 2 to 6. So if I add 2 units of these 50-cent pieces down here, I end up with a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 2. 6 to 2. 1 to 3, 2 to 6. I've got my 1 to 3 ratio, which means then that these two units right here are worth the same amount money-wise as this unit, which is $6. But we can't write down 6 coins because we have to remember that these units down here are made up of 50-cent pieces. So that means how many actual coins do I need in each of these units to reach $6? By the way, that's going to be worth $3, and that's going to be worth $3. So in each of these units, I'm going to have how many coins? Well, 50 cents and 50 cents is $1, so I'm going to need 3 times that amount. So I'm going to end up with 6 coins in each of these units. Now at this point, we can go ahead and solve the problem. We're supposed to find out how much money is in the box. Well, we have our 1 to 3 ratio, 2 to 6. We know that up here, each of these units is going to be worth $6. We figured out down here that each unit is worth 3. So that means, as far as $1 coins go, we have a total of $12. Down here for our 50-cent pieces, we have a total of 6 units that are worth 3 each. That's a total of $18, which means in the box there's a total amount of $30.